Welcome to The Explainer. Today we're diving into the grim industrial world of Charles Dickens' Hard Times. We're going to focus on one man, Stephen Blackpool, who's trapped in a situation he can only describe as a muddle.
So Dickens kicks off the chapter with this single, powerful sentence. And it's not just a casual thought, it's basically the thesis statement for everything we're about to see. It sets the stage perfectly for this central theme of relentless, soul-crushing work.
All right, let's set the scene. Our story takes place in the oppressive world of Coketown, which Dickens calls not a town, but an ugly citadel.
I mean, Dickens paints such a grim picture here. This isn't just a city, it's like a fortress built against nature. A place where everything beautiful is walled out and all the toxic stuff is walled in. Even the chimneys look twisted, kind of reflecting the stunted lives of the people who live here, a people known only as the Hands.
And get this one term, the Hands, it tells you everything you need to know about the dehumanizing view of the working class at the time. You weren't a person with thoughts or feelings or a family. You were just a function, a pair of hands to run a machine and a stomach to feed before you had to do it all over again.
So, in the middle of all this grime and impersonal machinery, we meet our protagonist, Stephen Blackpool. And he stands out not because he's some big shot or a genius, but because of his simple, unwavering character. We learn right away that Stephen's life has been incredibly hard. He's only 40, but he looks so much older, carrying the weight of so many burdens that everyone just calls him Old Stephen. His life has been filled with, as he says himself, a peck of trouble.
So to really get who Stephen is, Dickens cleverly shows us who he isn't. He's not a leader, he's not an activist, not a scholar. He isn't one of those remarkable hands you hear about who masters complex sciences in their free time. Nope, he is a good, honest weaver and a man of perfect integrity. And in a place like Cooktown, that's what makes him truly remarkable.
And this quote, wow, it's such a beautiful, tragic way to put it. It perfectly illustrates the profound unfairness of his life. It's like when life was handing out joys and sorrows, Stephen somehow missed out on all the roses and ended up with his own share of thorns, plus a bunch of someone else's too.
But you know, it's not all doom and gloom. As the workday ends and those factory bells finally go quiet, we get to see a softer, more hopeful side of Stephen's life. And it all centers on one person, a woman named Rachel.
Picture this. The machines stop, and the factories that look like fairy palaces from a distance are now just these dark, intimidating buildings. And out there in the rain-soaked street, Stephen is just waiting. His quiet patience as he looks for Rachel is such a powerful human contrast to the cold, mechanical world of Coketown.
So their conversation, it reveals so much. You can feel this deep, respectful connection between them. They're clearly so important to each other. But there's this shadow hanging over them. Rachel gently says they shouldn't be seen together too often because she's worried about gossip. And Stephen, even though you can tell he's disappointed, just accepts her words as law. That's how much he respects her.
And this brings us to the big question of a chapter, right? We see these two good, honorable people who so clearly care about one another, but something is holding them back. In a world this bleak, what on earth is preventing them from finding a little happiness together?
Stephen's own explanation, well, it isn't really an explanation at all. When Rachel asks him what's wrong, all he can say is, "'Tis a muddle." He's just stuck. He can't see any way out of this hopelessly tangled mess. It's such a simple phrase, but it holds a whole world of despair. So after he wishes Rachel goodnight, in a moment that's just filled with all this unspoken affection, Stephen heads home. And it's here, in the quiet of his own room, that we finally discover the true, shocking nature of his muddle. Dickens is so good at building tension here. The scene is quiet, almost peaceful. The moon is out. Stephen's room, even though it's in a poor part of town, is tidy and clean. He's carefully setting the stage of order and calm right before the chaos hits.
As he moves to put his candle down, his foot hits something on the floor, an obstacle. In the quiet of his own room, there's something there that shouldn't be.
And with that one cry of just pure, raw despair, the source of Stephen's muddle is revealed in a single, gut-wrenching moment. The something on the floor? It's a person, a woman.
And here it is, the awful truth. The figure on the floor is his wife, a woman described as a drunken, foul creature who has shown up yet again. This is his prison.
He is legally bound to this woman, and that is why he can never be with Rachel. This is his inescapable muddle.
The confrontation, if you can even call it that, ends without a fight, without any resolution. There's just this heavy, defeated silence. She passes out on his bed, and he just sits in a chair, a prisoner in his own home, in a state of absolute despair.
But then, in this final, small action, we see the true measure of the man. After all of this, his only movement through that entire long night is to cover her with a blanket. Even in the face of his own misery, his core integrity, his compassion, it just shines right through.
And this leaves us with a final thought to chew on. Stephen's story really forces us to ask, what does it mean to be a good person when you're trapped by unjust laws and what feels like an impossible fate? His integrity isn't about some grand, heroic gesture. It's about enduring the unendurable with a quiet, heartbreaking decency.